think John Emmett's the first one on today, Julia. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, Fozy, wherever you are. Crappy internet here, so forgive me if I disappear suddenly. Our boats are now all packed. That's what he did in his report today, the last sail of the year. Greg Phillips, the Gold Coast of Oz. Greg, thanks for all of your submissions. I'll use some of them on Friday, I think. Ed Worley down in SoCal. Hello to you, Ed. Andrew Pindar. Hey, up. Anyone seen Andrew McIrvin other than the night watch? Hello, Tier de Jong down in SoCal. Alistair Murray is on from Melbourne, Australia, presumably, as is Chris Fury. Ted Ryman down in Cape Town. As we get this one through the starting line. Hello, everybody, from Studio B here in the lovely Marina District of San Francisco, the Beach Street Yacht Club, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, my co-host.
How do you do?
Julia's got that little curl in her forehead. She was been trying to fix it. She said, I don't want to look like some, what was this saying?
Oh, there was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid.
I got to get a closer up look at that. You push it to the left. It looks great. You look like a sexy siren here. Mark Holland, you are now officially more viewers than MSNBC. That could be true, Mark. Fog Machine, hi, y'all. Andy Cox. Fog Machine's here in San Francisco. That's Lance Burke, of course. Andy Cox, hi from BDA, Bermuda. And the airport code thereof. Lori Fullerton is on. Nice to see Lori. Rick Banner, who's had a software problem. He's switched over to Mac OS, whatever it is, 15.
16, 17, 18.
No, he's on 15, and he's having problems.
Uh-oh.
Commodore Harrington, good afternoon to you, madam. Madam Vice Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, and on and on. Welcome to all of you. I'm your host, Tom, the Tom and Julia show here as usual. And this is going to be a fun one. We've got action from all over the planet today, including and especially Pauline Courtois and her Normandy Elite team have won the Women's Match Racing World Championship. It had just completed. I'm struggling to say over, completed, done.
Done.
In KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Julia. But before we get into all that, I want to thank our guests from Friday's show, the esteemed Andrew Pindar, who's backing the bid. John Emmett also did a video. I haven't aired it today, but we're going to do another big push, all of us involved, to try to get Paralympic sailing back in the 2032 Olympics. Won't be in 2028 in LA, but we're going to push for 2032, Julia. But thanks.
Is it ruled out definitely from 28?
Yeah, they've already taken that vote, and no cigar, so to speak. But Andrew was on the show on Friday, as most of you will know, along with the esteemed executive director of the World Match Racing Tour, James Pleasance, along with John Sangmeister of Gladstone's Long Beach and soon to be San Diego, with his son, Peter. And we really appreciate all of them coming on and talking about the World Match Racing Tour, which is just today, day one in Shenzhen in China. We'll talk about that as well. And their sponsorship of Ian Williams, who's the defending champ. Didn't have such a good day one, by the way.
Didn't he?
Did not. And again, we will get into all that. But Julia?
Sir.
What are we celebrating today? There is a hint below that lower third.
A whale's tail.
It is a whale's tail. Therefore, on Tuesday, December 10th, what are we celebrating? You'll never guess this.
Whale's tails.
No. Does anybody have any idea? Schaefer from Three Sheets Regatta in St. Croix. Hello, John Schaefer. See if anybody knows what this is. It's not warm and sunny in Connecticut. Gruber is saying, oh, to be in Scarborough. Yeah, it sounds from others that it's not so nice in Connecticut. Larry Kennedy's in Lower Manhattan. Larry, I hope it's okay there. Julia, do you give up? Do the Fozy give up? What are we celebrating today? You'll never believe it. There is a thing celebrated each December 10th, the Festival for the Souls of Dead Whales.
Oh, well, we need them to proceed wherever they're going.
No joke.
I mean,
And here is the deal. The Festival for the Souls of the Dead Whales is observed every December 10. On this day, we memorialize all the souls of the whales who died from whaling and other harmful man-made activities. It's also a day to appreciate their role in the aquatic environment and celebrate the mysteries behind these giant water creatures. In addition, this is also an opportunity to learn more about whaling, its history, economic purpose, and negative impact on the whale community, I should say. Find ways to celebrate the Festival for the Souls of Dead Whales today. You could go whale watching, I suppose.
mhm.
Is it appropriate? John Schaefer's asking to burn oil for Graham Sweeney. Our souls. Yeah, it is. That's the festival today, Julia, on the 10th. And here's some interesting factoids, since this is the Sailing Illustrated University, as Peter Stevenson likes to call us.
Mhm.
Whaling is legal in Japan and Iceland. It's apparently otherwise forbidden worldwide. Japan and Iceland still allow this activity in their territories.
Mhm.
It's legal when it's for scientific research, apparently, in some territories. In 1986, approximately 25,000 whales have been killed for scientific
Oh,
research.
since 1986.
Since, what did I say? Since 1986. Thank you, Julia. The blue whale is endangered. Today, the population of blue whales has reduced from 220,000 to only 3,000 worldwide. This, according to the Save the Whale website, or whatever it's called. Humpback whales rarely eat. Humpback whales feed off their fat and could last a year without eating. Unbelievable.
Good for them.
The largest animal on Earth, the fifth factoid here, with a maximum height of 110 feet and a maximum weight of 330,000 pounds. The Antarctic blue whale is the biggest animal on the planet.
Mhm.
Are you fascinated by those factoids?
I knew the last one.
You did?
Mhm.
That it was the biggest animal on the planet.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. We got to celebrate it. We got to celebrate our Fozy, too. We appreciate very much all of you who support us, as we say at the top of the show. Thanks for your support. I'm not going to ask for any more support. It's the holiday season. I'm tired of asking, but we appreciate very much your support anyway. And since I'm not going to ask, you can see there is a lower third there. Right, Julia?
Yes.
Huh?
Not asking, just showing.
Not asking. Speaking of Fozy, I made a mistake on Friday's show, and I called Clayton Embley's daughter. I called her Ashley, I think is what her real name, as I said, I did correct it by the end of the show. Her real name is Savannah, and Bravo Zulu to Clayton and daughter Savannah. Julia, this might be the right moment. I asked you before we went live if you wanted some of Clayton Embley's bourbon cream for your coffee.
Well, I shouldn't say no.
You can't turn this down.
No.
Here you go. Do you want a stiff pour?
No. In lieu of cream.
A
yes.
stiff pour. I got to show this. I am such,
Mm-hmm.
I'm such a, I won't use the WH word, but I also, while I'm at it, I got a card from a Fozy on my birthday. I'll always think of you as someone older. And it came from none other than Alistair Murray, who sent the card, and it was up in Julia's mail. You gave this to me the other day when I was up there helping.
I just got it.
Sort through your, well, it's been up there since who knows how long, that pile we were going through, Julia. Come on.
Well,
If anybody sent Julia a check lately, there may be one or two that are undeposited too until we help sort through her papers. And that, again, Savannah, and thanks, Clayton Embley, for your kindness in supplying us with bourbon cream, among other things. Now, speaking of Alistair Murray, you see this, Julia?
yes.
We had the feature on the last show about Phuket,
Yes.
right? And we pronounced it correctly, did we not?
I thought so.
I thought we did too. And Alistair says, "Good day, Tom. Just for something completely different, setting up for a finger wag from Julia. You discussed Phuket at some length today. This was last Friday, and it reminded me of this chat with my granddaughter, Amelia, when she was about 5. Very smart to know that PH is pronounced like an F. Watch.
Where are we going? We're going to fuck it.
We're going to fuck it. Does that deserve a finger wag? Huh?
Not from her.
Not for her.
Not from her.
How about for Alistair for sending it? And the poor kid has no idea what she said or done, but only that she's funny. Now, if that were me at age 5,
Yeah.
I would go around saying, fuck it, we're going to fuck it. I'd go to school and tell my teacher in my class,
Yeah.
we're going to fuck it. And I'd be in trouble for the rest of the...
Indeed.
Okay. Dr. Hamish Ross, who is naughty, is he naughty or nice? He will be our guest this Friday.
Ooh, that's good. We'll find out.
You like his hat?
Yes, especially on him.
That's a good hat, right?
Yeah.
That is AI. It's not even AI. That's just a little bit of Photoshop by me to make Hamish look
Oh, is it?
in the holiday spirit. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It is.
Not too bad. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Well, we'll see. Hamish will be our guest this Friday. We're going to talk about everything under the sun. The America's Cup Deed of Gift, America's Cup 37, America's Cup 38, and on and on and on. Julia, let's carry on here and do our Vendée Globe report. Not a lot going on, except they're making astonishingly fast progress. They've the leaders are already past Cape Leeuwin now, that southwest corner of Oz. But look at these media stats. So far, after 30 days, this is day 30, 3.2 billion impressions. This is according to the Vendée Globe and their PR that they sent out this morning. And 421 million people reached on social media. Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
47 million visits to the official website, an increase of, get this, 92% compared to 2020.
Fabulous.
150 million page views of their website, an increase of 67% compared to 2020. And I don't know if that's kind of year to date after 30 days or after the entire race, but it's still impressive. The official app was downloaded 520,000 times, a 49% increase from 2020.
That's fabulous.
So it is pretty amazing.
Yes.
The leader is still the leader. That is Charlie Dallon. And this is a photo he took yesterday as he was passing Cape Leeuwin. He has set a new record from Cape Horn to Cape Leeuwin.
Oh, good.
It's actually a record that dates back to, ta-da, 2008. And until yesterday, it was held by a certain Michel Desjoyeaux. 16 years ago, the only double winner of the Vendée Globe took 10 days, 7 hours, 37 minutes to complete the section from Ted Ryman's Cape of Good Hope to Australia's Cape Leeuwin. Charlie Dallon, massive Santé Prévoyance, beat it yesterday by 9 hours, 10 minutes. So he cut 9 hours and change off of that record, setting a new record time, 9 days, 22 hours, 27 minutos.
Good for him.
So it's really impressive, Julia.
Yes.
And I think they're going to, if they keep this pace up, they're going to break the record around the world.
Sounds like it.
He, by the way, he's caught up now with, not hasn't quite passed it yet, but I'll show you in a moment.
The previous record.
The previous record. So we'll have a look. Let's check in now. Today, this is Justine Metro, the leader of the women in the race. And on the water, the 2024, I'm just using this photo to go to these factoids, from their website. The 2024 Vendée Globe offers a thrilling battle at all levels of the fleet, while the race leader is already sailing in the Indian Ocean. Well, he is indeed. He's actually now south of, obviously, of Australia. The last competitors have only just left the South Atlantic with a gap of more than 5,000 miles between them. Each sailor nevertheless is fighting fiercely. French skipper Sébastien Simon, Group, how do you say that? De Breuil? made his mark by setting an impressive record in the South Atlantic. Remember that? We talked
Yep.
about that several shows ago. He did 615 miles covered in one day at an average speed of north of 25 knots, 25.64 knots. The skipper from the Vendée region of France has unfortunately just suffered foil damage in the Indian Ocean. Justine Metro is still the leading woman in the race, and here is today's report from Sail-World and Yachts and Yachting.
It's Tuesday, the 10th of December in the Vendée Globe, the skipper's 30th day at sea, and the big question is, out front, what is Charlie Dallin actually up to? He is heading far further north than you would expect as they go round the Antarctic and along that coast of Australia. There is a big storm there, but we've got to see why he's heading actually out of it and to the north, where he's going to do that further distance. Remember back in the Indian Ocean storm, he was one of two sailors together with Seb Simon who decided to take the southern option because it's the shorter distance and was quite happy to go through the stronger winds. So this is quite a departure. So we bring you the tracking, the leaderboard, predict wind, of course, to see what his routing options are, and a lovely update from Justine Metro, which shows just how tricky life can be on board one of these yachts. On the tracker at 0600 UTC, we can see how Charlie Dallin has carried on Port Jibe. This is going further north than his competitors who've jibed on to starboard. That's Sebastian and Simon and Ewan Richomme. And this is as they're on the western side of this storm, which is heading east. The distance when you head north is significantly more. And it is worth looking at the 3D tracker at this point. And we can see there, here we've got the Antarctic exclusion zone in the Antarctic itself. But you can see how every single time that you go further north from these points, you are travelling extra distance. This 3D view shows it very well. The flat earthers may not like this view so much, but it is very good at representing what happens when you go further north, just like when the sailors decided to go north around that Indian Ocean storm. The extra distance cost them, and that's how both Charlie Dallin and Sebastian Simon pulled out such a good lead at that point. The latest rankings show there Dallin in the lead with Sebastian Simon and Ewan Richomme making up the podium currently. Ewan Richomme is slowly grinding down into that lead. He's now just 309 nautical miles behind. He was over 500 nautical miles behind just a couple of days ago. As we scroll down there, we can see Sam Goodchild in 7th place, 761 miles behind Dallin. And there, Boris Herman in 10th place is leading a group of 4 who have stuck together for quite some time. We've got there Justine Metro, who we will hear from in a little bit, Sam Davies and Clarice Kramer. They have been sailing together and gone past the Kerguelens now and have been a real little group in this race. Going down a bit further, we can see there Pip Hare in 16th, Jean Le Cam, the leading daggerboard boat, in 18th, and a bit further down, Conrad Coleman there in 29th. Richard Gladwell, sailworld.com's New Zealand editor, has run Dallin's position through predict wind and all of the routing options have him jibing straight away and back to the south towards that ice boundary. Beyond that ridge in the ice boundary again, they have him heading south. There are a couple of options that head towards the South Island of New Zealand, but generally he is just trying to stay as far south as possible. What he has done effectively is bang a corner, but it could well work, and he's not put many feet wrong so far. Swiss sailor Justine Metro has been in a battle together with Boris Herman, Sam Davies and Clarice Kramer for some time, and they've recently passed the Kerguelen Islands and are heading towards Cape Lewin, the southwestern tip of Australia. We've got an update from her which really shows just how rough the conditions are out there. The audio at times is tricky to hear, but overall it gives you a really good impression of what it's like on an IMOCA.
Hi everybody, currently we're at the 10th of December on board Timon Pista. Once I'll do a video in English to change a bit for the English-speaking people who follow us, so today you can understand a bit better. So currently we're kind of broad reaching with the mainsail and mainsail 1 reef and J2. Conditions are pretty bumpy, like it's between 23, 28 knots of wind. The sea state is quite good and really, kind of everywhere. So trying to reach a good average, but without kind of really destroy the boat. And it should stay like this for a few more hours and then decrease and lift us. So we see I'm still sailing with the same group of 3 other boats, and it feels like everybody's kind of doing the same because we kind of all have more or less the same speed. So it's all about like trying to manage the boat so it can last for the race. And today it's just been like one, it's the day, we left like 1 month exactly ago. So days pass by, it's busy, but it feels like we are gaining some eastern degrees quite quickly, so it's quite nice. And it's pretty sunny this morning. It's changing because it's been really foggy this afternoon, so when I show you a bit around.
I don't know if you can hear her. He's just wrapping up here.
We'll continue to keep you posted.
And the surplusage there, but I don't know if you could hear that better than I could in my little earbud of Justine, but I just want to see the video. I could have played her video. Her video was available to us, but I just thought to see her in that condition. I admire these people, male, female, and otherwise.
But it's hugely loud.
It is, but it's just astonishing what they do and what
is.
they're doing. I continue to be very impressed.
Absolutely.
Okay, just a recap. Here they are, and Charlie Dallin has apparently now jibed back, and he's coming south. This is a couple hours ago, maybe a little longer. And I agree with what Lance Burke is saying. I think he went up there to try to get into one weather system behind him and between the second place boat. And if you get one weather system ahead of the boats behind, that's a huge cushion.
Yeah.
Because they're, in effect, they got a lull between them. And that is a big advantage. So we'll see if he can do that. By the way, if you see here that little red dot there, that's the leader from last time, 2 races ago, actually, that set the record. And you can see they're basically, he's caught up with that. He's been trailing that. Otherwise, the top 5, maybe even the top 10, I think the top 10 have changed by 1 position, but the top 5 are the same as last time. We looked at this on Friday, at least. And here are the others. Justine, as we've said, is 11th. There's this clutch. There's this gathering of women here. Justine, Clarice, Samantha in 11, 12, 13, and then Pip in 16th. Pip Hare down there in 16th. And as was mentioned, Jean Lacombe is in 19th. He, the leader with the old boats, but of that pack with the older boats in Conrad, the dagger board boats instead of the dagger foil boats, and Conrad Coleman is in 30th. So that's our update on the Vendée Globe. Julia, it is impressive, isn't it?
It is. It is. I listened to it, at the pounding seas.
You love to be out there doing that.
I would, but not for as long as it.
And not at age 85.
And as for half a year.
Well, they're going to be less than a half a year.
Yeah.
They're going to get around in less than 80 days. That's less than 3 months.
Yeah, it is.
Looks like it. Bravo Zulu to all of them. Chris Fury on this day, tomorrow, celebrating my 26th wedding anniversary with the lovely Catherine, who is the Vice Commodore of Sandringham Yacht Club that we talk about often, thanks to Alistair Murray and others. A lot of comments. There's so many comments I can't keep up with them all, including Ken Sabin, who's just checked in. Hey, all now, that's a bumpy ride. Bit gnarly, too. Ken, the superb boat right and sailor from the western end of Lake Erie, where it's becoming wintertime. Dallin may get a full weather system ahead in the next few days. Yeah, that's Fog Machine, a.k.a. Lance Burke. That's as we were mentioning a minute ago. Mm-hmm. And let's get to John Emmett. By the way, John put a link in the comments in the chat to his video about, let's all, again, go to work on trying to get the Paralympics back into the Olympics, sailing rather, back in the Paralympics for 2032. And he posted a thing this morning on one of his channels, maybe all of his socials.
Yeah.
And he's put the link there in the chat, just up above. So go have a look and share it, if you would, please. Meanwhile, here's his report. John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet. The Coaching Corner, our regular feature here on Sailing Illustrated from John Emmett of Great Britain.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. You join me for my last sail of the year. Well, last sail for quite a long time, I think. And yep, I'm at Castle Cove again, enjoying the joys of winter sailing. Got my woolly hat on. And the theme of today's Coaching Corner is to do things while you can, because you never know when you won't be able to do them. I've sat down and planned a winter programme, and you intend to do 5 days on the water, and then you look at the Moth Worlds or whatever, and you have 5 days of no wind. Or you could have so much wind that you can't actually do anything. And probably in Weymouth over the winter, that's more the issue we have. But we've seen, really important events, especially when the TV coverage is there, that they really struggle for the wind. And of course, there's some venues that are on average considerably better than others, but that's one of the natures of the sport. We're so weather dependent. But just in life, always do things sooner rather than later. Very sadly, lost quite a few friends over the last few years to cancer, and you never know when you're going to hit by that metaphorical bus. So sooner rather than later is a really important theme. I'm here now with my Devotti. I'm actually under 70 kilos, so the Ilka 7 rig is a little bit much for me, but it's good fitness, and one of the things which is so important is to do that specific fitness, so you get used to the muscle memory of working hard. And I think actually sailing, that's probably especially true. Over the winter, it's always good to have those secondary sports, so you do something to improve your flexibility, your aerobic capacity, your strength, and keep you fit over the winter. But there's nothing quite like sailing, and that I think is because there's just so much feel in the sport, and that's what I like so much. It's interesting, the downwind is probably the more difficult. It's the thing that you sort of lose first, and perhaps especially in a boat like Ilka or Finn, where you're really playing the waves, just having that muscle memory makes a big difference. So this is possibly one of my final tours around the Castle Cove Boat Park for a little bit. So I'll be interested to know what the Fozy are doing. And remember to like, share and subscribe. See you on the show.
John Emmett's Coaching Corner. The balls are hanging kind of in his face there, Julia.
They're all right.
I better adjust that. It looks like it's about to come right down. That gold ball's about to come right down on him. John Emmett, sailing. Get to the front of the fleet, I should say. We appreciate his regular reportage. Now we should go back to the comments, because Ed Worley is saying perhaps put on a demonstration, their second to last comment, put on a demonstration Paralympics in the LA Games. No, what we want to do is put on a demonstration of match racing, I think, Ed. We won't get more than one. And that's what we had. Christmas tea back, Chris Fury. Yeah, we need to, that deserves a finger wag, Julia. We don't have to explain that. It looks like the muscle memory in your right arm is pretty strong, John Hammond. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
People are being foul here, Julia. Okay. I feel Graham Sweeney up there a little bit. He's saying, my fear is most of these Imoca foilers will start falling apart. No vessel can survive that amount of stress. One of the factoids that I don't think I put in here, though, is that from the Vendée Globe organizers, they've had 2 boats retire out of 40. And I think they had 5, 6, maybe 7 retired last time out of 33 at this stage in the race. So actually the boats are pretty robust, or
they're
more so
stronger.
than in the past. So Bravo Zulu, again, to everybody involved, that they're keeping it all in one piece. So most of them anyway, and on the go. Any other comments we should get to? Suitably admonished, Julia. Please reach out to Hannah at World Sailing. Well, Hannah is I think John is referring to Hannah because she is, I believe, the para staff member, the staff member responsible for parasailing at World Sailing. Okay, speaking of World Sailing, one of their celebrated events, of course, is the World Match Racing Tour, which started today in earnest. They've had some preliminaries the last couple of days, the opening ceremony and so on, but this is the end of the 2024 season. We had James Pleasance on Friday, along with Andrew Pindar and John Sangmeister, talking about this upcoming event, previewing it a bit for us. It's going on now as we speak in Shenzhen, China, which is just up the bay from Hong Kong. So that is what's going on. The World Match Racing Tour, the 2024. Shenzhen, and I think Bao'an, if that's the way you pronounce that, is the region. Shenzhen, the city. It started on the 10th, which is, of course, today, and runs for 5 days through the 15th of December. It's a light air venue, but they did get in some racing today. And they, those of you down at Governor's Cup, where we put posters up on the side of the yacht club, I thought you'd enjoy this shot. Huge posters of each of the skippers. I love it when clubs do this. Not many people here looking, but I know at Balboa Yacht Club, Julia, when we do this, and they're up all week on the side of the Balboa Yacht Club.
Yeah, I've seen that.
On the west side facing where everybody walks through the front of the club. And kids stop and they look and they point and they talk. The junior sailors are talking. The adults are walking by saying, oh, there's so-and-so, or we've heard of him or her, and yada, yada. It's just good. It's a good way to promote at a regatta and to promote our beloved sport in my
Humanize it.
Humanize it. Yeah, make it, exactly, humanize it. And it's really cool what's going on there. Have a look.
It's great to be back here in the wonderful city of Shenzhen. We're here for the final event, again, of the 2024 World Match Racing Tour season. We've had a full year. We've got 12 of the top teams, match racing teams here this week.
We've had a really good season. Currently, we sit atop the leaderboard, but we still have some work to do. We're looking forward to having a good performance this week and trying to get that world championship that's eluded us.
It's pretty surreal to be here in China. I mean, this race village we were talking about is one of the biggest we've been in, and we don't really have massive expectations, but if we sail how we did last week and then build in with our new team, I think we'll go really well.
I think the big thing here is basically just not to get frustrated with the racing. It's a regatta of playing the percentages, playing the odds, and making sure that we win the races that we can and not getting too upset when you lose, because, yeah, it's definitely going to happen.
What's interesting this year is we've got new teams that haven't been to the final before. We had 3 young French teams, Timothée Rosset, Ian Garetta, and Aurélien Pierros, who are the young up-and-coming talent. And it's very interesting to see how they'll fare against the veteran sailors. Really everything to play for this week. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
The conditions are super tricky, as we found out today. Super light, super shifty, but sun's out.
We got some good breeze coming this week, so we're in for a terrific week.
Just counting, I think fully, 6 or 7 of the people in that video have been on this show.
Yes.
Certainly friends of the Sailing Illustrated, and we appreciate James Pleasance, of course, the executive director of the World Match Racing Tour. He does such a
great job.
He does, doesn't he?
I admire him more and more as I see
You just
him.
like those British and Aussie and Kiwi boys. Admit it!
Well, tell me who I don't admire.
What boys you don't like. Okay, I've got some more photos for you here, courtesy of the tour. And they are nice photos indeed. This is the opening ceremony. They've got this big tent and the nice chairs, and up front they got super nice chairs for the dignitaries, including the president of World Sailing, who of course is Chinese. Quan Hai Li is there. And that was at the opening ceremony. I think that was last night. I believe it was. I'm not 100% sure it was last night or the night before. Big gaggle, if that's the right word, of press.
Great.
And of course, our Fozy, James Pleasance, is in charge as the WMRT executive director. And then, of course, after the opening ceremony, they had a nice dinner last night. Quite a show, apparently. I'm hearing from friends from Fozy who were there, including there in the front row. Do you see who that is, Julia? Right here. You see that? That's Lily.
Oh.
That is Lily. I'm told. Now, how do I know that? I sent that picture to John.
To make sure.
Yeah, but to make sure, because the way, again, I said that when Julia came down as we were getting ready to go to live, I said, I wish they would put like this guy that does the Finn class and the 5.5 meters, Robert Deves from the UK. He always puts a lower third, a caption under the picture, and if people would please do that.
Right.
Forget about us. I can figure it out. I'm not lazy. But for other people, they see a picture on a website, they see a picture in a newspaper article, or well, maybe not a newspaper, or a magazine article or something, and it just says, "Oh, the 2024 WMRT." Say what's going on.
Right.
It doesn't. Of course, what happens? Everybody's rushing out to get the stuff out, and they just send a bunch of pictures that they think look nice. And it's usually the photographer doing it who doesn't necessarily know
the people,
who all the people are, right? But these are cool pictures. Speaking of Lily, there is, who's of course a Fozy, if not a super Fozy by now, that is Lily conducting the presser. She's moderating the press conference. Li Jia, Golden Lily Zhu, of course, grew up in China, medaled in 2012. And she medaled twice, 2008 and 2012. Got her gold medal in 2012, right?
Yes.
China, Great Britain, and she's living in Great Britain. She is John Emmett's wife.
Yes.
Fozy. There's another shot of what was, I guess, the skippers meeting, interpreted there on the far right. There are the skippers, all the teams. It's really a captain's meeting, as New York Yacht Club, Claire Harrington would call it, a captain's meeting, but it's everybody, the crew, and there's some media in the back. And here is Lily's opening day video from after racing today.
Hello, I'm Lily. Welcome to the opening day of the 2024 World Match Racing Tour final here in Bao'an, Shenzhen of China. Had a wonderful opening ceremony before the racing kicks off. 12 teams divided into 4 matches. The top 4 boats will advance into the quarterfinals. Looking forward to that.
Now we're here for the second time, which makes us feel a little more prepared. We're gonna aim high. We will try to go to the semis and strike for a medal, and from there it can go all the way. Of course, Ian Williams, the 7-time winner, is the guy to beat, and it's going to be interesting to see how Cole Tapper has been developing now, winning the US Championship. So I think we have some good racers here.
We have the wind direction changed completely upside down, and so did our race course. But there are some really close actions, and some winners were not decided until the very last few seconds.
We were pretty happy with our start, but for whatever reason, we struggled to get the boat going in that race. It's really important in match racing, if you're behind, to stay close. Especially in these conditions, in these boats, there are opportunities to pass. So if you can keep it close, then, as you saw, we passed literally within 50 meters of the line. And so really happy to get the win. Didn't look like that was going to happen. And happy to progress with 2 wins and 1 loss.
Our goal going today was just to take each race as it comes and managed to knock up some pretty good results on the board. I think we finished 4 wins and 2 losses today.
There was not that much method to the madness. We just tried to watch the other races and see what sort of shifts the other boats were in. And when you're in the first match of the flight, there's no one upwind of you, so you kind of go in a bit blind, but figure it out as best we can, I guess.
We had a good day, 4 and 2. I think we just have good communications between us, and we have good modes for how we're sailing the boat in these tricky conditions today that we saw. And I think the forecast is supposed to get better each day as we go on into the event. And so I think that'll be just showcase more of that mode that we have.
A light wind day on the first day of the finals. 3 teams finished with 4 wins, so you can see how close the battle is. A lot to come tomorrow. Stay tuned.
And that's the way to present standings, wins and losses, 4-2, 4-1. So it's help. It does help.
Yep.
Nice stuff. Lily, great stuff, don't
Yeah,
you
she's
think,
doing,
Julia?
yes, very well.
A great ambassador for our sport to that huge economy, that huge country.
Absolutely.
Dan Jaspers has joined us. Here we are again. Good evening, Tom, Julia, and the Fozy. Thanks, Dan. Gordon Smith, a great thing for organizers of a sporting event in China, as soon-to-be president again, Trump used to say, is that shortly after the event, the spectators always want another one.
Yay.
Mark Holland, Gordon, referring to Gordon Smith, if you are not here on time, you will not be seated until intermission, sir. Nice report. Yeah, Ed Worley, I agree. Nice report. Lily is always so positive. Love it. Yeah, Gordon, I totally agree. Everybody does. Really great. Lee does another 4 years as president. John Emmett is saying, well, okay. I might take issue with that, but he is president, and we'll support him and hope that all works out well. Ryman is saying, Ted says, Lily is a great girl. Well done, John. You've got a good one there.
Indeed.
A good one there. A few more pictures I've got for you here. This is our Fozy Ian Williams. What's he, 6 times? He's won this thing a bunch of times. And here he is in a close match today actually, but with Chris Poole. It's tomorrow down there now. It's the 11th, and they're getting ready to race. What time is it there? It is 05:42 in Hong Kong, I believe it is. And Ian and Chris Poole, currently Chris Poole, Nick EJ, and Cole Tapper are tied at the top of the leaderboard, and each securing 4 wins in the early stages of the round-robin series. And here's another shot. This is Timothy Rossi from France, who's also a Fozy. We've gotten to know him from Gov Cup. And on the left is see the guy with the long hair?
Yep.
On the left,
yeah,
crewing for Cole Tapper.
Yeah.
That's Max Brennan from the Balboa Yacht Club from
it
SoCal,
is.
who went to Australia to go to college in Sydney and is now sailing quite often with Cole.
Oh, nice.
On the circuit. Cole Tapper recently crowned youth match. Remember, we featured him last week.
Yep.
He won the Youth Match Racing World Championship in KSA, and he's carrying forward his strong team. His coach for the Youth Worlds, Jordan Reese, who, by the way, Jordan Reese, who's also a Fozy, has won as the coach he's coached 4 teams to the Youth World Match Racing Championship. So
wow.
Bravo Zulu to him. He's now crewing. He's aboard. He's a hell of a good sailor as well, obviously. He joins Cole as crew for this event, while his main trimmer from the last week, Cole's main trimmer, is sailing now with the Kiwi team, Knots Racing, which is, of course, Nick E.J.
Yes.
Egnott Johnson. Now, here are the results. And yes, I think they are accurate, because I was worried that maybe they didn't add up with the video, but they do. And you can see this is match race. And by the way, you can go to matchracingresults.com. And any match race, just about most any match racing event in the world is covered by matchracingresults.com in pretty much real time. There may be
they do a good job.
30-minute or 60-minute delay between when the races actually finish and when they get posted up on matchracingresults.com, and Bravo Zulu to them. But here you can see not just the score, the number of wins, and there are the 3 teams with 4 wins. Chris Poole,
Yeah.
Nick E.J., Egnat Johnson, and Cole Tapper on 4. But more importantly, Johnny Berenson, who only got 3 matches done because of the light air, he's on 100%.
Yes, I noticed that.
So he has won all of his races, albeit he's only raced 3 so far. Clayton Embley, fantastic. Technical sailing, not yeah, imagine if these were foiling boats, they wouldn't have done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nice information, well done. Lily is we already talked about what a great girl Lily is. So there are the results in this matrix, and it's a single, again, like we saw in Jeddah last week, both for the men or the youth and for the women, which we're going to feature in a moment. The scores, it's one round robin, a single round robin, then 8 teams of these, 12, go forward to the quarterfinals, first against last, second against seventh, and so on. And after the quarterfinals, the top 4 obviously go through to a semis, and then the top winners, the winners of the semis, go through to a finals, and they're usually best to win 3. Now, Andy Rose and I and a few others preferred a double round robin, especially for teams that maybe haven't sailed in that venue.
Yes.
Or in those boats. And by having a double round robin, you can lose a couple races, especially early on,
right,
and start to learn the venue and start to learn the boats, yes, and climb up.
It's much better.
The problem with with these regattas is that if you run a double round robin, which takes obviously twice as long in the early stages, then you have to go to a semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say, no, I'd rather get to the quarterfinals and have the chance to matriculate, using a good Stanford word.
Yes.
Matriculate, to move up the ladder in the knockout series sooner than later. So you can do it either way, whatever you think's best. But there is the results so far. Now, again, back to this guy. Don't count him out, even though he's not on 4 wins. He's on only 3 wins, but with 0 losses. That's Yanni is the proper Swedish pronunciation, Yanni Berenson. He is undefeated on 3-0. And one other thing is, James reminded us the other day when we had James on the show. Do you remember this fabulous shot from Bermuda?
Oh, yeah.
The most recent regatta. That's Yanni Berenson in those conditions there in Bermuda, the heavy air, and he won that regatta in impressive fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So he may be,
yep,
he may be, in addition to those 3 guys on 4 wins, he may be one to also, he certainly is one to watch out for, Julia.
Indeed.
So bravo Zulu to him, bravo Zulu to everybody involved there. It looks like it's a terrific event. David James, who used to live in Hong Kong, just down the bay, if that's a bay or a river. Imagine if, for example, match racing involved yachts sailing within yards of one another rather than at 50 knots within 10,000 yards. David James.
Mm-hmm.
We need a good match racing tournament here on San Francisco Bay.
We do.
In big boats, Julia.
Yes, I agree.
Big boats in a
Heavy
reliably
weather.
heavy weather in a reliably windy and iconically
beautiful
venue.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we need, Julia. What else do we need? We need to talk about Pauline Courtois and her Normandy elite team, because she just won for the 4th time the Women's World Match Racing Championship, which has just concluded in Jeddah. We talked a little bit about it on Friday with James Pleasance, but this event has wrapped up now yesterday in Jeddah, the Women's Match Racing World Championship, and Pauline Courtois not only won it, but starting in the rounds robin, she went undefeated.
Oh, isn't that incredible?
She went 15-0 in the rounds robin. They had a triple round robin, which again helps people. The Saudi down at the bottom, Sumaya, didn't do so well, but again, you get more racing in for the whole fleet when you do more rounds robin.
Right.
And Pauline finished 15-0 in the triple round robin. Anna Östling from Sweden, who we know, we've had dinner with her here in San Francisco. Julia, and Megan Thompson, we also know from New Zealand, perennial top match racing sailor, male, female, or otherwise. That was the positions after the triple round robin. They then went forward to a semifinals, and again, Pauline against Martina Karlsson, another Swedish entry. Pauline won all 3 of those matches. Anna Usling and Megan had a really had a tough match. And you can see 0-1-1-0-0 for Anna. Megan 1-0-0-1-1 came from behind to win 3-2 that semifinal. And that put Pauline and Megan into the finals. And Pauline again won all 3 races.
Incredible.
3-0. She went undefeated in this regatta.
Fabulous.
Including the triple round robin.
Yeah, fabulous.
And in the petit finale, Anna Osling beat her fellow Swede, Martina, 2-0. So, bravo, Zulu. I mean, fantastic stuff.
Yes.
And here's the video.
Today we have 2 wins, which is not so bad for the first day. We are still some technical issue with the boat, but it's in the process to keep learning from this day to be ready for the other days. So we are confident for the rest of the regatta.
The Women's Match Racing World Championship.
Okay, you got a feel for how that all came down, and I have a few more pictures for you.
They're beautifully tanned and smiling.
Yeah, and you never know that the pictures that come out of the Middle East all have that kind of dusty look to them. You know, it's just there's a lot of little particulate in
Dusty?
in the air, and I adjusted that picture a little bit to try to bring up the lighting on their faces. But this is 21 wins. This is Pauline Courtois. 21 wins over 21 matches was the perfect score for the 2024 Match Racing World Champions, Normandy elite team from France. Pauline, no, not Stella Courtois. Did you see that beer joke from, who was it, from Stingray? Is there a Stella Courtois? Like, you know,
Yeah.
What is that, a Belgian beer? Stella Artois, or that Dutch, whatever it is. 21 wins over 21 matches. Very impressive. And Pauline, along with, I don't know how to pronounce it, Malin Lemaitre? Lemaitre? Louise Acker, Sophie Faguet, how do you say that?
Yes.
Lorraine Metro. After defeating Team 2.0 from New Zealand, that's Megan Thompson's team of Charlotte Porter, Josephine Andresana Merchant, and Tiana Whitty, whose dad I know, in the final, who classified second overall and took the silver medal. And there is the second place team, indeed, Megan Thompson's team, who commented, another great day of close racing and perfect Jetta conditions. We always seem to take it to 5 races against Anna, but we're stoked to have made it to the finals against Pauline. Pauline made no errors in the final for a well-deserved win. Such a sporting comment. And there they all are at the prize giving. And again, it's just an astonishing achievement, not only to go through the regatta.
Oh, I know.
Without a loss, Pauline did, over tough competition. I mean, at least the top 4 and maybe the top 5. I'm not sure the 6th place team was all that much of a threat, but top competition for Pauline Courtois to go undefeated. And by the way, here is her record in these world championships over the last now 6 years. She had a silver in 2018, a bronze in 2019, then 3 golds in a row, 21, 22, and 23, and she's just added a gold to 4-peat.
Yeah.
This championship, Pauline Courtois and Co. Bravo Zulu to them.
Absolutely.
What are the comments about all that, Julia? Any? Ted, they're talking about pints and beer. Andrew Pindar, the Metro sisters are everywhere. Yes, indeed, Andrew. Good point. Thank you. In the world of sailing. I just love it when Tom speaks. When Tom doesn't speak. You're the Francophone. You're the French speaker. I need help from you. I'm going to stop in future so Stingray doesn't make fun of me.
They can make fun of me.
I'm very thin-skinned. You know, I get...
You're used to the arrows.
I can do the German and the Spanish.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Portuguese and a little bit of Italian, Julia, but you are the French speaker. You're the Francophone.
But I have the world's worst accent.
Doesn't matter. It's better than mine. Heck of a picket fence. Yeah, Steve Adkins. Not only is it impressive, Joe Holtzman, who's, by the way, is recovering well. His knee.
Good.
The guy, you know, he's your age. Ish. And having had the knee surgery, and he's got his rubber band on. I've seen some photos and video. He's really doing the PT. And as John Emmett will agree, and I'm sure just about everybody on here will agree, I having not done the PT after my first at age 20 major back operation, and I'm sure that did not help. Maybe it didn't contribute. I don't know. It probably contributed to my second back operation major 10 years later. Do the PT, right, Julia?
Yes.
How many PTs have fired you?
7.
Do the PT, right?
Right.
And it's nice that Joe is doing that. Who was Tom speaking French? I didn't realize. Gordon Smith, who speaks French quite well, and I think Danish and a few other things. Joe Holtzman, thumb up. Yeah, indeed. Bravo Zulu. Okay, let's now get to something a little different that we even haven't talked about, except I did have it in the show notes. This Optimus World, this class is fantastic. And there's some other classes that like to try to pretend to be the Opti class, but look at the 2014 Optimus World Championships in Mar del Plata down in Argentina. Don't cry for me, Argentina. And they've got fully 225 sailors from 52 nations, Julia.
Incredible.
And here is the opening video. Smiles on these kids' faces.
Yes.
I remember going to my first Worlds. I think I was 19, 18, 19. These kids are 12, 13, 14-ish. Is that right?
I don't know.
David James says Optis are a mistake, but man, oh man, what a deal. And yeah, the parents get over involved and there's problems with, the typical, I used to see it in youth hockey, but what a fabulous deal for these kids. And it's a big regatta, and it is a big success. And these kids, for one reason or another, the top kids, go on to doing amazing things in our sport. I agree, Joe Cool. It's a great video.
I do too. Yeah.
You're going to say, Julia?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay. Maybe they removed John Emmett is saying maybe they edit to remove the smiles, but you can just tell there's a whole bunch of people having a lot of fun and getting an international experience. And by the way, I think we've covered every continent now. We've in the Vendée videos, we've covered Antarctica.
Yeah.
Got South America. We're coming to you from North America.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And we're going to get to Australia. We've got China, which is Asia. I mean, we've got all the continents.
Well, we are
We
truly worldwide.
We got Ted Ryman down in Cape Town, so we've been talking about
Yeah.
Africa. And,
Yeah.
and we got Emmett and among others in Europe. We covered all the continents today, Julia.
Well, as we should.
As we should. Let's keep covering this, though, from Tango World down there. You saw those tango dancers in Argentina. Now, this kid is from Brazil, and he is the leader after 3 days of fleet racing. They start with fleet racing, then they do 2 days of team racing, then they go back to final couple days of fleet racing after they take there's a bunch of fleets, and they have to race in fleets because there's so many kids. There's 225 kids there sailing. So there's I think 4 different fleets, and they're all scoring points in those 4 fleets, and then they take the top X many out of each of the fleets, put them into a gold, and then that fleet races off, as do the silver and the bronze probably for other medals. But the top kids out of each of the 4 divisions go into the gold division for the final fleet racing. But in the meantime, they are team racing today and tomorrow. But despite the fluctuating winds between 6 and 13 knots, Brazilian sailor, this is him, Arthur Bach, maintained his lead, securing a 2nd and 4th place finish in the yellow fleet. Spanish sailor Juan Domingo had the best performance of the day, winning both races in the red fleet and climbing to 2nd overall. His teammate Mateo Carbonell holds 3rd place, and after a 1st place finish and an 11th place finish in the blue fleet. Rounding out the top 5 are another Brazilian, Eduardo Essinger Bachhauser, and American Pablo Munoz Montes. Greece also had a strong day with Panagopoulos. How's that? Panagopoulos moving up to 6th, and Makri, the top female sailor, in 7th. Now, I digress, thanks to Magnus the Magnificent, who had a few things to say about this Opti Worlds that's going on in his post today to the Rule 69 blog, which I commend to you. Now, first, this photo, which is from the famously good Italian website magazine Vela, which has been going on since 1975. This is Marco Gridoni and Ruggero Tita of Italy, both Opti grads. In fact, Gridoni won, I think, 2 or 3 Opti Worlds. Let's see here. But Magnus had this to say about Marco Gridoni: 3 Optimus World Championships, and Ruggero Tita, of course, the 2 Olympic gold medals in the catamaran class, in the NACRA 17. They are the 2 undisputed aces of Italian sailing, so say Vela magazine. This, in the last few months, given what they've been doing in both the youth worlds, that is the Youth America's Cup, but also in the Senior America's Cup. Now, this is what Magnus had to say. Unarguably, is that a word?
Indeed.
Inarguably or unarguably?
Un.
Okay. Well, you're the grammarian. Unarguably, one of the most dynamic sailors on the planet today is the former 3-time Optimus champion Marco Gridoni. This is Magnus writing today in his Rule 69 blog Substack. Marco is a bit handy in both the AC40 and AC75, you think, and is all set to become the figurehead for Italian Cup sailing, if he isn't already, or so says Magnus. A street fighter from Rome. He's not in any way part of a Silver Spoon Brigade, and that's what makes him such a dangerous entity in the Cup world. I suspect that Marco has respect. When he was dockside and came across Sir Ben Ainslie, there was definitely a bit of the fanboy in him. And why not? Ben is a living legend. But there's a ruthless streak around Marco that led him to the 2017, 18, and 19 World Championships, that is, of the Opti class, and the coveted World Sailor of the Year title in 2019, a full 3 years before Ruggero Tita was awarded his gong, which has just happened, of course, at this past year's, at the past month's World Sailing meeting. So that is Magnus, and he had more to say. And get this, Italy, with these 2, will win the America's Cup. Now, we're going to hold Magnus to that. About that, I am certain. No other country has that level of talent coming through the ranks. And whilst Marco has ignored the Olympic Games to concentrate on AC 75 foiling, in Rugi, he has a skipper that has serious pedigree in the form of 2 gold medals in the last 2 Olympic cycles. With the continued support of the Bertelli family, we'll see if that happens. Now guaranteed for another cup. We'll see if that happens, Magnus. Italy look tastier. Tastier, Julia.
Oh, yes.
Huh? You love his prose.
I do.
He's a Brit. No wonder. No wonder. Great stuff from Magnus the Magnificent. And he goes on. In fact, there's more. Get this. Magnus says, in fact, if truth be known, Italy arguably missed a big trick in Barcelona. Their backing of the Spithill-Bruni helming partnership may ultimately have cost them the cup in 2027. Had they had the guts to go for Tita Gridoni now, which would have eliminated Marco from the youth AC that he won almost single-handedly, but would have given the 2 youngsters an experience level that will now have to fight to attain in 2027. I would suggest, I think he's saying, but I would contest that if those 2 had been on the wheel and perhaps have been knocked out of the LV Cup final, no matter, they would have been favorites in the next cup cycle, certainly amongst the challengers. Now we look at 2027 as a good chance to win, but in reality, probably 2031-32 is more likely. And again, that is down to the Bertelli family staying involved or another Italian coming to the fore. Mm-hmm. Now, I ask you all who are watching this, I ask you, Julia, is Magnus correct or Croutonic?
Well, I think I give him sort of in between. I've been a fan of the rising Italians for quite a while.
Oh, come on. You just like the livery. You like that silver boat, and you like Patrizio Bertelli, who's been at this, 8 times trying to win it?
Oh, well, I am a fan of his for trying that hard and often.
Often, indeed. Claire Harrington's asking how many sailors at this Opties are from the U.S. They have a team of 5, a good team, in fact. What else here? Good for the 6 to 8-year-olds, but past that, definitely a mistake. Steve Atkins is agreeing with David James.
Mm-hmm.
Even Graham Sweeney, he's saying we've even covered the incontinent. Today, in today's show, we have to be sure to always now cover the incontinent. Oh my God, that's the best comment of the day. John Emmett, there's a very poor correlation between junior sailing and Olympic success. What there is a good correlation between is youth success and Olympic success. Remember, most kids out of NZL started in Opties. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the IMOCA sailing around Antarctica too. So yeah, we've covered the continents. It must be quite challenging to have a Brazilian in an optimist. I wonder if that's a joke. I don't quite get it, Gordon. I hear that Thomas nailed the Greek. Well, I was born in a Greek town. I was born in the town of Ypsilanti, Michigan, named after Demetrius Ypsilantis, the general, the famous Greek general. Yasu! I had a boat once named Klezma. We've covered that on this show.
Well, I don't.
You know what klezma means?
No.
We'll see if anybody else on here knows what klezma means in Greek. Okay, there's a bunch of comments. My goodness. I meant NZL sailors have the P class, John Emmett was saying. Yeah, but they come out of Opties before the P class, right? Okay, let's go back now to these. I think that's the end of Magnus's commentary, an interesting commentary.
Yeah.
Actually, he's got one more. I knew I had one more. Now, this picture he picked out and ran on his blog today on the Rule 69 blog Substack, which is on Substack, by the way. And it's behind a paywall, so you got to pay a little bit to get, you can get the preliminary, but as more and more publications are doing this, you pay a little bit to be able to get his full articles. And thankfully, he's given me a complimentary copy so that I can promote him here on the show.
Yes.
Leo Gosling Jr. is a Brit, and he's there. He's struggling. He was in, I think, 8th place. But here's a factoid via Magnus I did not know. winning the Optimus World Championship is, for the British, something akin to trying to win the Old Mug. Not only has a Briton never won it, we've never even been on the podium since the first championships in 1962. That's 72 years of hurt. Okay, not quite 173 years, but you get my drift. And the quality of sailors who've tried is extraordinary. This is a seriously hard championship to win, and it's the hugely diverse nature that makes it such a hard feat to win. This is truly an international spectacle, and one where I'm surprised at the lack of British success. If young Mr. Leo Gosling Jr., can squeeze his way onto that podium, it will be one seriously impressive feat. Not F-E-E-T, F-E-A-T, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, F-E-A-T. So says Magnus the Magnificent. Today and tomorrow, there are fully 42 of the 52 nations team racing.
He's walking on water.
It looks like he is. Let me go back before I put the lower third there. It's a cool shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool shots. I mean, the photography at this event is fantastic. And this, again, 42 nations today began team racing, including the U.S., Commodore Harrington. And the U.S. has won this. Actually, another nation that's been very strong in this is Singapore, also the Philippines, also Malaysia. The Asian countries seem to be very good at this team racing event at the Opti Worlds. Then they go back to the Gold Fleet and the other fleets, but the Gold Fleet, the top kids move into the Gold Fleet, and they do a couple more days of fleet racing this weekend. To determine the overall championship, one last comment here from the website. Before the individual racing resumes, the team championships will take place on Tuesday, today the 10th, and tomorrow the 11th. Then this exciting event will be held, or the team racing is being held. I saw some video.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you can watch it live on their website or somewhere on their Facebook page. It's easy to find. Just Google it. This exciting event will be held in the inner waters of the port, featuring the top 32 teams. Oh, 32. I somehow got 42. In short, umpired races. This team race regatta will be watched from Pier C of the club or via the YouTube live stream. So there is that going on in the team racing, and that is our Opti Worlds report for today from Argentina.
That's really impressive, I have to say.
Cool stuff, eh? Julia?
Sir.
Your favorite segment.
Oh.
What happened, Julia, on this day, the 10th of December, 2019? Here is your first clue. We'll see if anybody, and this is sailing related because the name of this car is on the license plate.
Cable 607.
No, it's below that.
Oh, Commodore.
It's on the license plate holder.
Commodore.
Ding, 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 dong. Stingray's, that's his comment. What happened on this date? And this is your first clue via Wikipedia. And that is a 1979 Holden Commodore brand is the model. 3.3 sedan, and that is in Oz. Holden stopped. Now, why is a Brit living in South Africa the first one to get this? Ted Ryman got it. Bravo Zulu. And he's got the right answer. Ding, 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 dong. Holden stopped making cars in Australia. Well done, Ted Ryman. Now, I was going to give you another clue. And this was going to be the 2017 Holden Commodore SV6 sedan. I used to drive a Commodore when we lived in Australia for the 86-87 Cup. So I know the car, and it's a bit of a muscle car.
Is it?
In Australia. I mean, they had big engines. It was a GM car. Holden was the GM of Australia. And then I think Opel somehow got involved in Europe. But on the 10th, Ted Ryman's right, on the 10th of December, 2019, Holden announced that the Commodore nameplate would be discontinued in 2020 in what is, according to Holden's interim chairman and managing director, Aquilina, quote, decisive action to ensure a sharp focus on the largest and most buoyant market segments, focusing on their SUV and Ute range, which had accounted for over 76% of their lineup. So they killed the Holden and announced it, I guess, on this date in 2019. And there was a billboard about it. And yes, the Commodore, Julia, was canceled. The Commodore's canceled. I can think of a few other Commodores we ought to, not you.
No.
A few other Commodores that should have been canceled a long way. But get this, see if any of the Fozy know this. Lionel Richie was a Commodore. Fog the Black. Barry Manilow. Well done. Fog Machine. That was a good joke. That was a good comment. Lionel Richie was a Commodore. The singing group. One hears the driverless Holdens are awful. Holden. Yeah, that was the brand name. Yes, Graham Sweeney got it too. Commodore Harrington. I need one. Yeah, she needs a Commodore. Claire Harrington. But wait, there's more. Because they've just announced, according to Wikipedia, the 2025 Holden Commodore is being reborn as an electric SUV, according to her. I've seen it, by the way, not just on Wikipedia, but on several auto magazine type reports. According to report, well, from Auto Car, for one, Opel CEO Florian Hudl, right, it's a German company, said that the electric Insignia replacement will be released in 2025 and will not be a traditional D-segment car. So there you go. It's coming back as an electric muscle car. I wonder how Jaguar is doing. Yeah, Jaguar is not doing so well with their commercials. Okay, that's it. The Holden Commodore was canceled on this date in history. And we don't want to cancel you, Julie, as the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club.
No, you don't have time.
Which gratefully gets us to the last leg, Julia.
Yes, sir.
The last leg to Gloucester. We're going to reprise our report from the other day about Sail Sydney, which went on from the 6th through the 9th of December, because we now have a very cool video. The regatta's over. I'm not going to tell you all who won and who lost, but it was a fabulous regatta with 200 plus, 230 boats sailing, something like that. Sail Sydney returned to the waters of Rose Bay and Botany Bay in New South Wales from the 6th through the 9th. 230 boats were set to sail. It's one of Australia's premier Olympic and invited class regattas. It is also a world sailing graded event. It is run each year in December, attracting competitors from around the country and beyond to the waters of Sydney Harbor. And I want to thank Bo Outeridge for the pictures that we ran on Friday. And I think he also produced this video, although I am not 100% sure. But it is a way cool video to wrap up today's show.
Hi, I'm Alexander and I sail the Ilka 7. Yeah, for sure. We had, crazy conditions. Not anything that I'm used to seeing here on the harbour. Of course, it decides to show its face at Sail Sydney. So, it was really difficult managing how shifty it was, and all the rain and everything just added layers. So, yeah, it was tough. The racing was really good. We had a really good show up of all the pre-emerging guys from around the country. It's really awesome for them to have driven up here for this event and sort of get some more racing in before Sail Brisbane and Nationals.
Yeah, it was a challenging event, but it was good to get back into racing. It was the first regatta we've had since, Europe last season, and it was really exciting to be racing a bunch of other Australian boats and to see what's ahead of us for the next 4 years.
It's been probably one of the most challenging regattas I've ever sailed. We've had, just weird, not normal summer Sydney conditions the whole time, and everything from fog to rain to sun, but, it's standard South Sydney and we love it.
Yeah, the hands are pretty sore. I'm going through my gloves pretty quickly, so it's a bit different than pushing buttons, but no, it was really fun, pretty brain fried and happy to be done.
Yeah, the 4 days of racing, we had something different every single day and something different pretty much every single race, so it was just like see what opportunities present themselves and try and make the most of it. You'd see someone on the outside of the course with something completely different, so it was just like a balancing act the whole week. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty tricky. We had clouds, fog, storm bits coming through. We had a cruise ship come through the course, classic Sydney headlands and tidal effects, so there was plenty to work with out on the course.
As John Emmett and others will tell you, I cannot emphasize how important regattas like this are for youth development, for talent development for the Olympics. And we don't have enough of this in the U.S. The kids have to go. The kids, I mean, the Olympians, the prospective Olympians have to go to Europe and sail in Mallorca and in Hyères and in the other places. We used to have more of these style regattas here in the U.S. Australia has Sail Sydney. They have Sail Melbourne, which I believe is in January. And I think, they have a couple of these big regattas. Yeah. As John Emmett says, it'd be ideal to sail in the Northern Hemisphere
yes.
and then go down to Australia and New Zealand in the wintertime, which is essentially what the Aussies and the Kiwis do.
Right.
They're up here in our summer and they're down there in their summer. Great stuff. And Oz does do a great job. John Emmett is agreeing. And again, we need more of these. And we're going to see this. I think the U.S. is starting to get wise. We're going to, leading up to 2028, we're going to have some regattas in Long Beach, like we did leading up to the '84 Olympics. We're going to have Rock, Long Beach and L.A. Rock Olympic classes of regattas. Organizing committee was the group that started putting together pre-regattas together in 81, 2, 3, and then leading up to the '84 Olympics. And I think the same thing's happening now. We have our big regatta in Miami for the Olympians, kind of an Olympic classes regatta like this, normally in January, but we need more here in the U.S. And bravo Zulu to those of you who do such a good job in Europe with these events, and particularly to you in Australia and New Zealand who do the same. Sail Melbourne was a week before Sail Sydney. Chris Fury, thank you for that. So that's already happened. What else here? Yeah, we just had Sail Melbourne, John M. Okay, so thank you for that. And with that, Julie Aarons is wondering why we're doing a short show. Well, these used to be the normal length. We do an hour and 20, hour and 30 minutes, and we get longer. But let's wrap this one up today with Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. 'Tis the season, Julia.
Yes.
To
be jolly.
To be jolly, and that's what we're doing today with Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And here's the first one, since we are a drinking show with a sailing habit. Skip the milk and cookies. Santa wants a drink.
Good.
That came from our good friend and Zoomer, Ed Worley, down in SoCal.
And he's got it right. Margarita and tacos.
Margarita tacos and more. By the way, there's a website called, Ed's been getting these from, I think he sent a couple of these from, it's a tequila Facebook group.
Oh, good.
And there's a whole bunch of these jokes that are really good and recipes for different margaritas and I commend it to you. Right, Ed? Thank you for that.
It's
now,
just my style.
We get to another one. This Santa has been, this is right down your alley, Julia. Santa has been reading your posts all year long. Most of you are getting dictionaries. Now, see, that's a very cerebral, erudite, intellectual from Gordon Smith. He doesn't send either. He either sends ones that are so dirty I can't use, or he sends these cerebral ones.
Yes.
Now, this one I had back and forth with the submittor. Is that a word?
Yes.
The submittor as to whether or not she would be okay if I not only used this, but if I gave her attribution. Using Let It Snow wrapping paper wasn't perhaps the best idea. That's funny, isn't it?
It is.
And it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Let It Snow wrapping paper. Guess who that came from? The Vice Commodore.
Oh.
Yeah, Gordon Smith knew it. Claire.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Final link. There's the para video again from John Emmett. Thank you for that. No finger wag from here. No, I think that is fabulous. Like our friend and Fozy, Vice Commodore Claire Harrington is fabulous.
Yep.
She's got one more year as Vice Commodore, and then she will be inaugurated a year from about right now.
That's neat.
In December, and I may go.
Yes.
To her inauguration.
I think that would be a good
if
idea.
they'll let me in 44th Street. We'll see.
Yeah.
Claire Harrington, our esteemed
You can get a pass.
New York Yacht Club Vice Commodore and a regular on here. She is so busy with all these holiday parties and meetings and so on and so forth. She is a busy lady.
She is.
Indeed. I also associate Claire with organs. Stingray, that's pretty good. That's pretty. Yes, she is a superb organist. I've not heard her play. Well, actually, I have heard her play. She played at the funeral of a friend of ours, Scott Ferguson's dad, George Ferguson. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Rick Bannerow. That's a present. Mark Collins says that's a present I wouldn't return. Mark, that's a present I wouldn't open. Keep that one for good.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of all that. Julia, we are to the finish line, thank goodness. And you like to say...
Yes. Do not miss the opportunity to like, follow, and share with grateful people.
Indeed. And we appreciate all of it, the like, following, and sharing. And also, we like to say that comments are welcome even in replay. So if you're watching this in replay, as many of you do, you can comment. We don't close them down because people are so respectful.
Yes.
As are all of our FOSI. Thank you very much for the support. We appreciate it. And I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it, Julia. We appreciate it very, very much. Thanks for your support.
Mm-hmm.
And we also appreciate those who give us video, audio, and images for the show, for today's show, and otherwise. Julia, final thoughts.
Today was a fun show.
In under an hour and a half.
Amazing.
Is that okay?
Yes.
That list is amazing, too. Look at all the people who essentially contribute to this show. Thank you, Thierry de Jong. Thank you, Fog Machine. Thanks to all of you for your comments. The FOSI on here, the chat line that we have is great fun.
Mm-hmm.
And keep it around 90 minutes. We appreciate it. Great show. John Emmett is saying, okay, we will attempt to do that. But, when we get gas baggers on here, like we had on Friday,
yeah,
you get those three guys on here. We could have been here for 3 hours instead of 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever it was.
Right.
Besides, you can always go back and watch it and replay and then scrabble through it. Okay, there's never a dull moment on this show. Well done, all the contributors. Thank you, Andy Cox in Bermuda. Thanks, Chris Ferry in Australia. Thanks to all of you. We love you very much, and we will remind you that on Friday we will have a gas. Did I say gas bagger? No, he's not. He's not a gas bagger, Julia.
He actually isn't.
He's really erudite as well and very articulate. He's not a Mr. Doctor. He's just a legal doctor. Dr. Hamish Ross will be our guest on Friday. We're looking forward to that. Should be fun. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And in the meantime, go sailing, at least if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And if you do, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.